and we'll get 10 shots each. All right.
All right, let's do it. Yeah, let's get it going. Hype it up like I said before.
All right, we're back today with soccer.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm ready to talk about some stuff today.
Some pretty cool stuff to talk about today.
I think we decided we're probably going to stick to like and subscribe. The Premier League, and then we'll just talk about some like U.S. national team and
MLS stuff.
MLS. If it's big, we'll talk about it in the MLS and Champions League stuff.
Stuff that happens here.
Yeah.
The only other time we'll mention other teams, like you said, is when we're talking about big tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because in order to talk about so much soccer stuff, we would have to make like a channel dedicated to soccer.
Yeah.
Because there's so many leagues, so many different teams.
Yep.
And I don't want to jump around too much.
And I feel like the Premier League is probably the most popular one.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one we'll talk about.
That's the one people want to hear about the most, I think. But the first segment we want to get in, talking about Premier League stuff.
Yeah, a couple of the top teams' games and how they finished and things like that. So the first one you want to talk about was the Liverpool-Watford game.
And just Liverpool in general, because as you know, Liverpool's having an unbelievable year.
Yep.
They beat Watford 5-0.
5-0, man, that's crazy.
Mane had an unbelievable game. He was rated a 9 out of 10.
You were talking about his goal too that he scored.
He had one of the best goals I've ever seen. He got through one goal, and he was alone, and the ball was a little bit behind him when he trapped it, and he turned around and backheel flicked it over the top of the goalkeeper.
So I need to look it up. I want to see it now.
It was a ridiculous goal.
Look at it. You said he scored another goal.
He did score. I think he scored their first goal towards the beginning of the game. And Van Dijk had 2 goals, which is a defender.
Good from a center back. Yeah. Good from the back.
I think one was a corner kick and the other one was a cross. So.
Were they both headers?
Yeah, they were both headers, which is what a defender usually does.
Yeah.
Van Dijk is just unbelievable anyway as a defender.
Yeah, and then you were talking about people criticizing Liverpool.
There's been a lot of criticism here, and Liverpool has a pretty passionate fan base.
Yeah. But
they're always quick to, it seems like, to criticize, because I think that they haven't had a championship since 1990, I read.
Yeah.
And their fans are criticizing them and Jurgen Klopp, saying this will be their last chance to win a title.
Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I think it's ridiculous.
It doesn't make much sense to me. Like, do they expect everybody to just leave? I don't understand.
I don't know. Maybe
they're not old.
They're not old. I think they have an unbelievable team. I think what Jurgen Klopp's done with them is really good.
Been really good.
I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool's a good team. I think they're going to be contenders. If they keep the same team, I think they're going to be contenders for a while.
Yeah, for at least a few years at
least.
So
I think that's a little ridiculous to say.
Now, obviously, if players start moving and start getting sold, then I would kind of understand people saying that. But there's no indication of that right now.
You know, sports, and I know it's an overseas sport, soccer. It's big in Europe.
Yeah.
It's big in other parts of the world. It's not as big here.
No.
It still is big, but it's not as big
as it is there. That's pretty much most of their only sport.
It's the biggest. It's the world's biggest sport.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a franchise, and I look at it as a franchise, just like sports here.
Yep.
And franchises change. Now, I understand they have a relegation system, and our pro sports don't have that here. You have interchanging teams that sometimes teams try to buy championships. You can't really do that.
Plus, soccer is so worldwide that you have people moving league to complete leagues, and in the U.S. you don't have that, those new teams. So that is a little bit different.
I can understand some of the concern, and the fans want a championship now.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them.
But Jurgen Klopp did say you have to enjoy what they're accomplishing now, and you have to enjoy the ride. Regardless, they're going to make a Champions League spot. I know it's not good for them now. They want a championship.
They want a league championship, yeah.
But I think it's a little ridiculous and overboard to say that they'll never win another championship. That's to me, I think
that's ridiculous to say that.
Now, almost in the same breath of that, Man City won their game 1-0.
1-0 over West Ham.
Which is big because they're right behind Liverpool, 1 point back.
Yeah. So if they had drawn this game, they'd be 3 points back. So that was a big win, close game.
So, you know what?
Not a whole lot to say about it, just that they kept their spot.
They kept their spot.
They kept their 1 point spot behind.
So they're right on the tails of Liverpool, which it's between those two teams.
Yeah, when you look at the table, we're going to talk about the table here in a minute, but it's between those two teams.
That's why I paused a little bit, because I don't want to mention goal differential and stuff like that right now. But, you know, right after that, Man United, Lukaku helped Man United win for their 8th consecutive away win.
Which seems real. I mean, that seems unbelievable to me.
Which is a record. It's a record for Man United.
You have to win on the road in any sport. You have to.
And Arsenal won their game. They beat
Bournemouth, right?
They beat Bournemouth 5-1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat Bournemouth.
5-1.
They beat Bournemouth 5-1, and then I kind of just ran those teams through those teams because they were the top teams.
Yeah.
And then we go straight into Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea beat Spurs, and you said Spurs were third.
And Spurs were third, and that pretty much takes them out of contention for the title race. It's just between Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
The reason why I just ran through those teams to get to Chelsea is because there was a big thing that happened.
Yeah. In the cup final, it was the final, right? I think it was the final against Man City.
Well, it was against Man City, and Aguero scored the goal. But
yeah.
What's big is Kepa was to be subbed out. He's the goalkeeper for Chelsea.
He was doing it. The manager was doing it because they were pretty much planning on going to penalties.
Well, and they thought Kepa was a little injured, right?
Yeah. They said he had come up lame 1 or 2 times. Plus, they said Caballero was better on penalties anyway.
Caballero used to play for Man City, too.
Yeah, he did. He was,
which could be a big deal because he could know how some of them shoot.
That's true, because he went up against him in practice.
Anyway, Kepa was to be subbed out, and the coach tried to sub him out, and he wouldn't come out of the game.
It was like a standoff. I mean, one of them was going to end up giving up.
And to be a player and just to be subordinate like that to your coach on the field is ridiculous.
Never. I would never do something like that.
And he kept waving to the coach saying he's not going to come off.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't.
Of course, you never want to come off, but when your coach wants you to come off, you go off.
Here's the ridiculous thing: he should have been forced off the field.
Yeah.
If you're getting subbed,
I agree.
Either the captain or the referee.
Yep.
Get off.
Yep.
And he wouldn't do it.
Nope.
And the coach just left. The coach because
he got angry.
He went back in the tunnel.
Really angry.
And Man City, if you look at it, maybe sometimes you would say, well, depending on the shot, it may not have been saved anyway. But based on the shot, it went right underneath Kepa's arms.
Right underneath his hands.
He just missed the ball.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, Kepa being insubordinate and not coming off the field and just being an idiot
could have made the difference in the win.
Might have made the difference because he guessed right. He just missed the ball.
Yeah.
So the reason why this is a big deal, Chelsea beating Tottenham, is because they did it without Kepa. They dropped him.
Yep.
So the future for Kepa, we have no idea. They don't know.
And I know they docked him a week's pay too. That was that was the other.
Well, he should have punishment. Do you know what the future is for him? No. Are they going to drop him completely? I don't know about that.
Who knows?
But he may be placed on the bench and may lose his starting position.
Yeah.
And he may get traded in the future.
You never know.
And when you do that, when you do things like that as a player,
it hurts you with other teams too.
Coaches may not want you.
Yeah.
So that
I even saw some people tweeting out, welcome to the Chinese League, Kepa, because they were talking about how none of the other coaches in the bigger leagues are going to want him to come there when he acts like that. So
if I were him, I'd issue an apology and say, I don't.
Yeah, he should.
But you know, I don't want to go too much into that because there's not much else to say. It's just bad. It was stupid. And that kind of leads into the league table standings.
Yeah, we were talking about the league table a little bit.
The top teams pretty much won all their games. The only one that didn't was Tottenham. That's because they played Chelsea. Chelsea's a top team too. The top 6, but they're in contention for the top spots.
Yeah, because they're only, we'll get into that here in a minute.
Now the league table, Liverpool has 69 points. What's the goal differential?
It's 49 for Liverpool.
You want to just run through the teams?
Yeah. Man City, 68 points, 55 goal differential. Then you got Tottenham, 60 points, 26 goal differential. So the goal differential drops way off there.
And they just lost to Chelsea, so that's a big deal. They're 8 points back.
And Arsenal, 56 points on 56, 22 differential. Man United, 55 points, 19 goal differential.
And the 5th spot is the Euro spot for the Champions.
And the 5th spot is the Euro spot, yeah. And then in the 6th spot, you got Chelsea on 53 points, so two points behind Man United, and 18.
So those last few spots, actually, between those 4 teams, when you take out the top 2 and you look at the 3rd through 6th, 3, 4, 5, 6, those teams are competing with one another for top league spots. And now to get into some, when you look at the bottom of the table, when you look at the relegation, the complete opposite end of the table, Southampton just beat Fulham, pretty much sealed both of their fates. Yeah. Southampton probably just got out of a relegation
spot. They were right there on a relegation battle.
Is it still possible? Yes, but Fulham is probably dead.
Definitely no Huddersfield.
Huddersfield and Fulham are pretty much competing for last place.
Yeah.
And then you have Cardiff at 25 points.
And do we know who's right in front of them?
I didn't look, but it's not too far ahead, so Cardiff can still get out.
They have a chance to still get out.
I did look at the points ahead of them, but I just wanted to write down the last three.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know Cardiff still has a chance, but the last two are pretty much sealed.
Fulham and Huddersfield are pretty much going down.
Unless something just ridiculous happens to where those other teams just start losing like crazy, which I have seen happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but it's not likely to happen.
Fulham didn't make good enough play in the transfer window, the January transfer window, to make any plays. So I think they got Babel.
I'm wondering if they were almost preparing to go back down to the championship and then work their way back up.
But anyway, those teams are the bottom spot. The top teams had a pretty good weekend besides Tottenham, but that's because they played Chelsea.
They played another top team.
Now we want to get into news here at home.
Yeah.
The women's national team and the men's national team.
You want to talk about the women's team first?
The women's team are in what they call the hashtag She Believes Cup. I think it's about just female strength and stuff like that.
Yes.
Women being powerful and stuff like that, which you can say what you want about that. I'm not going to go into that. People may. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with women being out there and being strong and tough.
Yep.
It's their women's national team. They should be saying stuff like that to support their players. We don't get into politics on this channel. I don't think they're making a political statement.
No, it's just more about girls' sports.
I think it's just about women being strong and playing hard and winning. I don't think it's anything other than that in female sports.
I did see a story. Now, it's not a soccer story. It's about another type of football, American football. But there was a girl that she was the first girl ever just signed with a college football team in a non-kicker position. She's a safety. So I'm interested to see how good she's going to be.
Well, if they're good enough, do I believe that women or have less muscle mass than men? Yeah, that's obvious. That's biology. But if they were good enough to play and they don't get injured and they can compete, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm interested to see it. I want to see what she does. But I mean, that was just kind of a side thing. I just wanted to mention that. But
you're going to have pushback from certain people. They're going to be afraid that you're going into their realm of whatever.
Yeah.
As long as there's not stupidity going on and stupid comments and stuff like that from both sides, I just look past it and say, are they playing good?
Yeah.
I just need to quit mumbling about that. Now the women's team tied Japan 1-1 in the She Believes Cup, and the reason why that's a big deal is because Japan's their rivals.
Yeah.
The U.S. women's national team is getting a lot more competition because women all over the world are being more competitive, which you want to see. You don't want to see just pure domination.
Women's sports are getting a lot more popular than they used to be.
And I want to see that.
Yeah.
Now, does the women's soccer team have more support than the men's? No. You could argue that maybe they should because they're a winning team.
The way they win.
They deserve support. They tied. It was a tough game. They kind of let the lead slip away. They probably should have won the game, but they tied 1-1 against Japan, which are the rivals. To go kind of in the same sense, the men's national team.
Yep.
Who I've always supported. And here's the thing: we talk about support. The men's national team didn't make the World Cup. We talked about that not too long ago.
Yeah.
This frustrates me. It doesn't matter what your national team is, and this is my point with all of it. It doesn't matter what the national team is. I don't care what the players' political statements are. I try to look past that. You talk about actors, your favorite actors.
Yeah, you have to.
You try to ignore political opinions.
You have to ignore stuff like that, or you're just going to be.
We know what each other's political opinions are and convictions are.
Yeah.
We will never talk about that on this channel. And I don't care what a player's convictions are. They're representing my nation.
Yeah.
And what I care about.
And as long as they do it in a respectful way, in the proper way, then I'm going to support. I'll support anybody.
That's why I don't care. That's why I don't care what the hashtag She Believes even mean. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
I just care that they play for my national team. That's all I care for.
Yeah.
If they win, I'm happy.
Yep.
Same instance with the men's national team. People are I heard Alexi Lalas say the men don't deserve your support. I understand what he's getting at. I disagree with Alexi Lalas a lot, even though he's still one of my favorite players. He was one of the toughest defenders that you could ever watch back in the day.
Yeah.
But I disagree with him a lot, which is, it's just the way things are.
Yeah.
I played soccer through high school. I had a lot of awards for playing defender, conference, district, honorable mention All-State, and that was with me getting injured.
Yep.
So I was pretty good. Didn't go into college. I couldn't afford it. It's just the way things are.
Yeah.
I could have taken out loans probably, but it's just That's a side subject.
Different story.
The reason why I mention that is because I do have some credibility when I talk about defense in soccer and stuff like
Yeah.
that. He said the men don't deserve haven't earned your respect. He didn't say don't deserve. He said haven't earned your respect back. I understand what he's getting at, but in the same sense, they're almost in the same. They're your national team.
Yeah.
I think they do. I don't care if they're not winning at all. The truest fans are the ones that stick with their team.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
You don't stick with the team because they're winning.
They're winning. No.
You're just sitting on the bandwagon.
I hate the bandwagon stuff. I've never liked it.
I cannot stand people who are posers and stick with a team because they think they're winning.
Yeah. Just like when a team wins the Super Bowl, all of a sudden you'll see stickers
They're
all
my favorite
over all
team.
these cars, and it's like you weren't ever a fan of that.
And as soon as they start getting a losing record, they rip them off.
Yeah.
And they start going, you're not a true fan.
No.
You're not a true fan of the sport. Go away.
Yep.
Don't want you.
Nope.
But they're earning the respect back from the people who don't have it, which I think is a little ridiculous, little by little. Now, I did think about it, and maybe a little bit of criticism is warranted.
Oh, yeah.
It is warranted.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe them not having the sport is a good thing, because maybe they'll compete for it.
Push them to drive forward.
And maybe they are. And Berhalter,
yeah, you said he got named as
the true head coach.
True head coach, which is good. You have to have that.
Of the men's national team.
And he played for the team. He played back in the day.
To give a bit of his accolades, he was a defender for the U.S. men's national team, 2002, which was their greatest success in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And 2006, which was one of their worst. But he was a defender for the U.S. men's national team.
So he's been there for good and bad. So.
He's been there for good and bad, so he understands what it takes to succeed.
You know, it was funny. You said as a coach he has an attacking mindset, but he was a defender when he played.
Well, he coaches the Columbus Crew too, and they have an attacking mindset.
Yeah.
And they run a 4-3-2, or excuse me, they run a 4-2-3-1 and 3-4-3, and that's what he wants to. He wants to have an attacking mindset with the U.S. national team.
Especially, I mean, with the 3-4-3, that's definitely an attacking.
Well, we're going to get to that in just a second, but I just want to give a little bit more.
Yeah.
They beat Costa Rica 2-0. Let Jet was a big deal in that. Previously, before that, they beat Panama 3-0 under Berhalter.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a new era for the U.S. national team. Let Jet looks like a future star for the team. If you can remember, before the World Cup when they were doing some friendlies with Bruce Arena, Let Jet was a new future star, and then he got injured.
Yeah.
And he thought that was going to end his career. So this was a big deal for him to come back, and it was an emotional comeback for him. The reason why he's a future star is because of this formation we just mentioned. The 4-2-3-1 and the 3-4-3.
Yeah.
Berhalter, when we get into our last segment, the fourth segment, the U.S. men's national team future. With these formations, Let Jet would fit well into this. They want to press other teams.
Yeah,
they want to play out from the back.
Yeah, you said he wants to push forward from the back.
So no more Josie Altidore era. I'm almost saying hallelujah for that, because I love Josie Altidore, but if you look at the qualification, he always did well in tournaments before it came to qualifying.
Yeah.
He almost seemed to never score goals in qualifying. He was like a hold-up play. He was like a hold-up midfielder to do counter-attacking play, and I thought it ruined U.S. men's national team play. They had no passing. They had no attack. It seemed like they would just get the ball in the back, lump the ball forward, allow the other team to press them, and they would lose.
Yeah.
Now, it was just boring to watch. I hated it. It was their identity for a while. They seemed to succeed somewhat. It was somewhat successful, but it wasn't satisfying.
Just that mid-tier stuff.
It was that mid-tier stuff, and it wasn't next-level stuff. And people kind of resigned the USA men's national team to, well, this is as good as they're gonna get. If you think that, then you shouldn't be playing. You shouldn't be part of the team.
Nope.
I always want success, and the players got upset at Jurgen Klinsmann for saying that when they first made the World Cup. We're not going to win. No, I go there to win.
Yeah.
I want to win. I want to go as far as I can.
Yep.
But we're entering a new era with Greg Berhalter,
which is good. You have to do that from time to time with teams.
So Ledge is a future star. They got a lot of young talent. They're able to build out from the back. They're able to switch from a 4-back to a 3-back to attack. So maybe if they go down, they switch to a new formation. They go attacking. I like that. I like that adaptability. It shows they're able to adapt and push forward. They have a fluid style. They want to break through the lines, and they got future stars like we mentioned, Letjet. You love Darlington Nagbe.
I'm a big Darlington Nagbe fan. I like him a lot.
Well, you wrote these names down. Do you want to talk about these players?
Is it Gyasi Zardes? Is that how you pronounce it? Gyasi Zardes. Of course, Pulisic. Everybody's seeing what's going on with Pulisic right now. Bobby Wood, Sargent.
Who's a forward for Werder Bremen?
Werder Bremen. And something else you mentioned about Berhalter was that he wanted to start getting some overseas players.
Well, you look at Sargent. You look at John Brooks, who's another one.
Yeah.
Who's
John Brooks. I forgot to mention John Brooks. Right?
Bobby Wood, Pulisic, who plays overseas, getting ready to come to.
A lot of these guys play in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
A lot of them play in the German league.
Getting ready to come to the not MLS. Getting ready to come to the Premier League. Pulisic. Gyasi Zardes does play here at home.
He does.
And Nagbe, I think, does.
I know Wood did play in the Bundesliga. Is he back in the MLS, or is he still over in Germany? I can't remember.
But anyway, he did play overseas. So you do have a lot of overseas players, a lot of Germany players.
Yeah.
But the reason why that's a big deal is because it's better competition. They play better competition.
You have to.
You have to. You have to have competition like that.
Yeah.
Clint Dempsey is kind of an anomaly.
True.
He's just, and so is Donovan. They're just unbelievable players that we found here, homegrown talent. They are anomalies, but they aren't. They were here when the U.S. men's national team was coming up, and they were in that era of, players being grown here, played here.
The sport was starting to rise more in the U.S.
Sport was starting to rise
when they were coming up.
So they were anomalies, but they weren't. Donovan played for Everton for a little bit, and actually, Dempsey played for Fulham for a little bit when they were good. So they did play overseas for a while too.
They played. And of course, you had Howard. Played at Everton for a long time.
So to go into this a little bit, Jurgen Klinsmann, I think, was right.
I agreed with him when he said it at the time when he was talking about
you have to
having our players play in other leagues.
And did he get snubbed a little bit? I think so.
Yeah.
Because I think people panicked because they saw that the USA was not going to make the World Cup because we had a lot of bad results.
Yeah.
We lost to Mexico 2-1 at home.
Yep.
We usually trade with them. We usually beat Mexico here, they beat us there. That's just the way it is. So when we lost to them our very first qualifying game, people were shocked. They were upset. It was 1-1 going in. Actually, if they had tied that 1-1, we would have made the World Cup.
I know.
But
that.
I think people they panicked and they fired him.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think it wasn't a coach. I think it was the players.
I'm wondering,
Because the players didn't seem like they gave a crap in the last few games.
No.
They really didn't. Now that pisses me off, and that does warrant some criticism.
Oh yeah.
And that does warrant a little bit of lost respect.
Especially considering how.
For those players, though, not for the team.
Yeah, for the players. Especially considering how it was a little bit of an older team too. So you had the more mature players, and they shouldn't act like that.
No, they acted like they were just apathetic to it. Either we're going to make the World Cup, or we just don't. And Taylor Twellman had a good point, and Alexi Lawless had a lot of good points.
I remember his speech after that whenever he.
And I did agree with him. Well, because he came from a different era where they had to fight like hell just to make the World Cup.
Yep.
And he wants to see them fight, and it looked like they had no fight in them.
No fight at all.
And coming from a defender, we're usually mean.
Yeah.
We just are. And you played line.
Yep.
So you were mean. You have to be mean in those positions.
You have to. You can't.
And I
got be soft.
I got ticked watching them. You remember you were on the phone with me. I went ballistic.
You did. You went off.
I paid $90 for Fubo TV to watch them play overseas, to watch them just absolutely play like trash.
Yep.
And I just went off. Went outside, I took a hammer and just started smashing. I lost it. Because they should never not make the World Cup. That was an embarrassment. In Mexico the year before, we kept them in the World Cup. If USA and Mexico don't make the World Cup, it's an embarrassment for their nations.
And especially the part of the world that they both come from.
CONCACAF is probably the most forgiving qualification that you have in qualifying for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And if you don't make it, you're bad.
Yeah.
So it was pathetic that they didn't make it.
Yep.
And Jurgen Klinsmann, I don't blame him. I blame the players. They acted like they didn't care.
And it was so surprising because of their performance at the World Cup before that. Wasn't that bad.
And we won the Gold Cup.
It wasn't that bad, the performance at the World Cup before.
We won the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, James. No. If your players are good enough to win the conference, pretty much the Conference Cup, then you should make the World Cup.
Yep.
Because you have good enough players to do it. We won.
Yeah.
But then, people are saying, are people going to gain respect back? Are these players going to gain respect back if they win the Gold Cup? No, because we won the Gold Cup. Again, I'm talking about the players, not talking about the national team.
Yeah.
To me, the national team is a symbol in itself. You always cheer for the team.
Yep.
I think maybe what Alexi Lalas was getting at is some of these players losing respect. I do agree with him on that.
Oh, yeah.
And I agreed on that rant he went on, because I went on a big rant too.
Yeah.
When they did make the World Cup. But they got a lot of. I'll kind of calm down a little bit. They got a lot of young new talent,
which is good. You have to have that on the world stage.
We're gonna give I want to give my thoughts on it. I want to see what you think about it. I talked a lot about this mainly just because I played soccer.
Yeah.
I think the future for USA, based on what I've seen, based on the stuff I've heard, is bright. They got a lot of young new talent. They want to attack, they want to pass, they want to play out from the back.
Speed, that's something I've always loved. They talk, Yedlin out on the right side, right back.
Mm-hmm.
I love players like that because you can't do anything about it. There's no way to coach against speed. In any sport, you can't coach against speed.
I do think he has a little bit of disciplinary issues.
True. But just in terms of just speed in general on the team, it's just, and like it's going to come down to these players and how much they want it. That's what it's going to come down to. It's how hard they play and how much they want to do it because they have the talent to do it.
When I say discipline, I'm talking about focus too.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about off the field stuff. I'm talking about during the game.
Like during the game and decisions he makes, things like that. Is that what you're talking
yes.
about? But I mean, but not just him in general, just in general is what I mean. Just speed in general is impossible to coach against. It is.
Well, it's just natural, and he's one of the fastest players I've ever seen.
Yep.
Nagbe has a lot
Nagbe's fast. Zardes isn't slow.
So I think the USA has a bright future.
Yeah.
They develop their talent. I think they start developing young new stars. They get away from all that BS they had for the last 8 years.
I'm glad that they're, Berhalter's wanting to switch it up and try something new. You have to. If it didn't work before, you have to do something different.
You have to.
I'm glad he's bringing in overseas players.
I think the future is bright. What do you think?
I think it is. Like I said, it's going to come down to the players and how much they want it. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yep. But anyway, guys, that's what we think about. We talked about league stuff, Premier League stuff.
Yeah.
And then we went into the U.S. men's national team. We want to talk about the Premier League more.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about stuff that happens here at home.
Yep.
We want to incorporate those two.
Cody gets into it. It's his sport. He's watched it a lot longer than I have.
My sport. And when I was a kid, my heroes were Eddie Pope, DeMarcus Beasley, Landon Donovan, Kobe Jones, Alexi Lalas, Eric Winalda.
See, I didn't even know DeMarcus Beasley until he was in like his mid-30s. I never even knew of him until then. So
Brian McBride, Casey Keller, Tim Howard. I grew up in an era where making the World Cup was not a given.
Yep.
It was kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. And when we made the World Cup in 2002, that's why I think this is a big deal with Berhalter. When we made the World Cup in 2002, people were like, "Oh, that's neat." And we got out of the group stage. We beat Portugal 3-0, I think.
Wow.
And we got all the way to the quarterfinals against Germany and only lost 1-0. Granted, we should have had a penalty kick against Germany. I think Jurgen Klinsmann was actually playing against our team.
That's funny.
I think they were playing against our team. And Oliver Kahn was one of the best goalkeepers at the time. And Germany went and played against Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal to me.
You have to support your teams. I mean, me growing up with teams like the Celtics, the Giants, and the 49ers, had some good and bad years. That's why it was such a big deal to me when the Celtics won their first title again. Well, not their first title, since they won their last title in 2008. I had never seen one of my teams win a championship.
Well, that's why I'm passionate about it, and that's why I get a little heated over it. But you don't have to respect all the players, but you respect the team.
You respect the team,
almost like
what it represents.
Almost like you don't have to respect the person, but you respect the rank.
Yeah.
And kind of like with the coach and the player, with Kepa, you don't have to respect the guy. You may not want to come out,
but you have to respect the position he holds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you do what you're asked. You're an athlete. That's your job. You respect it. You're a professional. Anyway, guys, that's been it with Cody and James coming to
That's
sports.
why I've been trying to find some more opinion type things in other sports too to talk about, because I feel like that's just interesting for people to listen to. But yeah,
make sure to hit that like, subscribe,
hit the notification bell,
leave us a comment, And
yeah, we'll feature you next week if you leave a comment.
Stay tuned for the challenge coming up. This one's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Still got the Wheel of Fate in there.
Wheel of Fate, he's around.
But we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day.
All right. Today's Thursday.
Yeah, doing our Thursday challenge.
Soccer challenge. So we've done our football, baseball, and basketball.
Yeah.
So now we're on our soccer challenge.
Kind of like the football that we did before, where we have targets set up in the goal.
Yeah.
Gotta try to hit the targets.
We're gonna shoot the targets. We get 10 shots each. As you can see, we bought some new soccer balls. The green ball will be a money ball. So
okay.
Each target's worth 1. If you hit it with the money ball, it's worth 2.
2. All right.
And we'll get 10 shots each. All right.
All right. Let's do it. Yeah, let's get it going. Hype it up, like I said before. All right. So.
Before this foolish, impish idiot starts speaking again, I just want to mention how unfair it is to power up before a challenge. Idiot.
Camera angle's a little short, but we got to keep it out of the rain. It's not raining super hard, but still misting outside. We have some guys next door. They're doing some work on a fence, so if you hear a drill, that's what that's going to be. I mean, nothing we can do about it, so we can't tell them to stop working because they're back there working. So.
All right, you ready?
I'm going to do my 5 shots. We're going to do 10 shots, right?
Yep, 10 shots each.
Okay, point each, except for the green balls, 2 points. All right, let's get it done.
Head the game.
Head the game, we ready?
Yeah.
This guy might actually be insane.
Oh my God.
That's my best shot I've probably ever done.
It's close.
1 point on my first 5. Got to do my next 5 now. I didn't hit any of the lower targets. I'm thinking about maybe if I should try and go for those. And if we hit one target, do we have to try for another one? We can't hit the same target twice, right? Okay, so we can't hit the same target twice. Here we go.
In one round.
In one round, yeah. Yeah, 2 points there. Hit. Three points.
I can always look on camera.
Pretty sure it was 3. Best shooting I've probably ever done here. I'm getting better. So, let's see what Cody can do.
Okay, I got my 5 shots now. You ready?
Let's do it.
Head in the game.
Head in the game.
Okay.
This is big if you get this.
Money ball.
Money ball.
Oh.
All right, here we go. That one counts. That's a point. If you make this, it's a tie.
This is his last chance to score. Do you think he's going to do it? Of course not. Did you think he was actually going to do it?
Okay, so James beat me 3-1. Made some pretty good shots. It's kind of deserved.
Just, it'll probably never happen again. So I have to enjoy it while
Well,
I can.
I mean, you know,
this was more. Cody said he wasn't really a placement shooter when he was.
I was just I was a power
So
shooter.
I think this gave me a little bit, well, not an advantage, but it gave me an even chance.
I played CDM and I played center back. Don't want to create excuses for myself.
I am getting a lot better since we first started.
Well, those
I'm
are good
getting a lot
shots.
better.
I mean, you hit 3 that were really good.
Yeah, I hit the two top corner.
So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
I lost, so we pretty much know we know what's going on.
Yeah, we know what the score is right now because we're filming these kind of out of order. But I mean, we haven't filmed them all yet, so
It's just the way it is.
it's how it happens.
All right, that's been it with Common Sense Sports. Cody and James. Remember, hit a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell,
Notification bell.
leave a comment.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.